Should you buy an indoor turbo trainer? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you mine, I'm going to show you my setup, and then give you some pros and cons of riding in the virtual world. So if you look at my setup, I've got the Wahoo Kickr core. Wahoo has 3 versions of a turbo trainer, and I have the middle version, which is the Wahoo Kickr core. There are 2 types of turbo trainers. There's cheaper versions, which are more of like an A-frame, where you put your back wheel on, and then it rides on a drum, and then you kind of tighten the drum, which then applies pressure to the wheel, a bit like when you're using one of the old school spin bikes. Or you have the direct drive smart trainers, which is what this is. So that basically means you take your back wheel off, you put a cassette onto the Wahoo Kickr, you put your chain on the cassette, and then you just use your bike as if you would do on the road. So before I go into the pros and cons of the turbo trainer, I thought I'd quickly take the time to show you how to set it up and how easy it is to set up. Because if you've not seen one of these before, this can all look confusing when it's really not. So like on your back wheel, you've got this pin and it's got a lever on. You undo the lever, you unturn it, and then the back wheel comes off your frame. It's exactly the same on this. You undo the lever on this side, you then lift the frame out, and then it comes away from the cassette. And then what you can do from there is put your back wheel on and use your bike as usual. And then when you put it on, you put the chain around the cassette, and then it just simply slides in onto that pin, and then you tighten the pin on this side, you close the lever, and then it's nice and tight, and then the bike doesn't move. So should you buy a turbo trainer? Well, if I'm honest, I didn't even know this existed this time last year. I only got this in November thanks to a friend recommending it. So the point of doing this video is me to show you kind of what it is, what it looks like, how it fits on the bike, and then for you to then make a decision if it's right for you. But for me, I think it's absolutely brilliant. So I went for the Wahoo model. There's other brands out there, but I went for the Wahoo model, and it's great. It connects straight to my laptop, and on my laptop I have a training program called Swift, and it interacts with each other beautifully. So the way the smart trainer works, you're playing this game, make an avatar cyclist of yourself, and it will give you workouts and routes to do, and it communicates with the turbo. So when you're going uphill, the resistance will change on the turbo naturally, and then you would have to use your gears as you would do on the road to then get up that hill. When you go downhill, it becomes easier, so then you go down the gears, so you're in a bigger gear set to go down the hill. And it's even smart enough to work well when you're in a pack. So when you're in the road and you're behind another cyclist and you're drafting, you can go faster because there's of the drafting effect. It mimics that on the road, on the turbo trainer on the game Swift. So you can have that real feel, kind of racing, riding feel that you would get on the road, but you can do it indoors. And in the winter months, you know, you can only go outside so much. There's so many, you know, there's shorter days. You can't go out at 6:30 in the morning because it's just too dark. So it just gives you an option to train all year round. And for me, it's so much better than I thought it would be. So the main pros for me is the ability to ride all year round. And when you're using a turbo trainer and you're doing a workout like a structured program, you get prescribed wattages to hit. So you're working so much harder than you would do on the road, and an hour on a turbo trainer is probably equal to about an hour and a half to 2 hours out on the road. Because on the road you've got free spin, you've got, you know, you have to stop at lights, you've got other users and, you know, traffic to deal with. Where on the turbo you're just hitting prescribed wattages and cadence targets throughout like a structured workout. So for me, one of the biggest pros is being able to ride all year round, do structured workouts, and time. You know, if I was to do an hour on this, it's literally, you know, 10 minutes of warming up, as in doing a bit of stretching, grabbing a wall ball, setting the bike up, and then, you know, you're on the ride and you can do a structured hour. Where going out on the road, you have to prep your bike, prep yourself, lots of clothes on, especially in the winter, lots of lycra on, and then you've got to go out for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and then your session just lasts longer. So if you're someone who wants to train first thing in the morning at like 6:30, you know, 6:20 you start setting up, 6:30 you're on the bike, hour session, you're done by 7:30. So for me, time, like, it's, you know, time efficiency, the ability to train throughout the winter, and then the variety of workouts you can do indoors. The negative, well, I would just say the negative is obviously the price of it. Probably, you know, it is quite a punchy bit of kit. The Wahoo Kickr core is the version I've got. That's £700. You can get turbos with the Smart Trainer Drive for about 500, but you're looking at 500 to £1,000 for the top model, so £700. But you know, throughout the winter I'm normally on this 4-5 hours per week, so is it worth it? For me, definitely. Is, you know, look at the type of training you're doing. It's a good bit of kit. It's a solid bit of kit. It's sometimes hard to justify 700 quid for such a small bit of kit, but it's just perfectly made. It's very well made, and for me, it's 100% worth it. And actually, one more pro that I totally forgot about is you're riding your own bike. So you get used to riding your own bike and being in positions on your bike. So, you know, you get used to riding on the hood, you get used to riding in the drops, which you can practice on the road, but you can just get comfortable indoors. So when you go outside, you're so much more efficient about being on your bike. I've been changing my seat post settings and my seat settings and just fine tuning it, because I'm spending so much more time on this bike now, and it's just getting more and more comfortable, and I'm just adapted to the bike. So that's another big positive I totally forgot about, is that you get used to riding your bike, you get out on the road, you're so used to your gear set and everything to do with your setups, and then when you get out on the road, you're just absolutely flying. So I hope you found this useful. If you've got any questions and there's something I missed, then please drop them in the comments below. I'm going to do a video on Zwift and how to use like the online software and all the some quick tips with using with setting yourself up on Zwift. But if you've got any questions about the turbo, or if there's something I missed, then please just drop it in the comments below.